Hi, it's the 21st of November 2018 at 11:30 p.m. Well, it's been a bit over a week since I discovered that I had SAD, Seasonal Affective Disorder. And I'd have to say it's been the best week of my life ever. It's been a fantastic week. I tried to record what happened, how it progressed. And I was keeping it on paper, and I was scribbling it out. It was pretty messy, so I thought, I'll put this on computer. So I opened an notepad and wrote it all out, detailed it all out, and it's in there somewhere. I went looking for it tonight, I just couldn't find it. I have no idea. It's a pity, because I found tonight watching the first video I did on this channel from a week ago, I'd already forgotten. I'd already forgotten half the feelings that I had and how bad I was. That's just a week ago. But fortunately, I did that video, and it kept a record, and so I could go back and think, yep, I remember now how I felt. You know, the cold feeling inside and the whole thing. And it brought it all back to me. But I was surprised at just how much I'd changed. And it's a pity I didn't have those other notes, because I think I made a few sort of poignant comments about it in the early transition. But the one thing that I do remember, a problem with summer sad at least, and probably winter sad as well, or any sort of depression, is you get thoughts come to you. I think it's because your energy level is down, and then suddenly your mind starts dredging up thoughts, any thoughts. Sad thoughts, negative thoughts, you know, things that make you feel bad. But since blocking out the sunlight, I haven't had any thoughts, no negative thoughts. No despair, or no, I don't think of my family. In fact, you know, I used to go to town and I hated it. I consciously say inside my mind, I hate this, I can't stand it, reminds me of my family. And that was like that for 5 years. It hasn't happened. I've been to town 2 or 3 times in this last week, and it hasn't happened once. They're just buildings and shops and people. That's all it is now. It's not like walking through a ghost town or through a morgue. They're just a bunch of shops, and people have no interest in the place. But that's what it is. And I'm thank God for that. You've got no idea how bad that is. But I get the feeling that we all focus on the thoughts. And that's why we go to psychologists. You know, I've had this thought and that thought and this thought. And I get the feeling we try and analyse our thoughts. I think it's a load of rubbish. I think the problem is you've lost energy, and your brain just goes dredging up those thoughts. Now, they're horrible, and they're typically, you know, all sorts of things, but I've found that since I've blocked out sunlight and I'm not getting stuffed up that way, I just don't have the thoughts. I mean, nothing, that's the only thing that's changed in a week. Those thoughts just don't occur to me anymore. And the negative thoughts are things that have slowed me down with my progress, you know, even as an entrepreneur. You know, oh, will it, won't it, will it? I just don't even think of them anymore, I just do things. I could never do that before, which is only telling me that it's that the sunlight was somehow playing with my energy flows. Okay, and I sort of felt like it was robbing my energy, probably because like sugar, it hypes you up and then dumps you. And so what normally would happen is, say, if I was going to town, I would wake up, I would spend an hour or 2 in bright sunlight, and then I'd go out in even brighter sunlight. So by the time I got to town, I was really down. Now what happens now is I wake up, I'm in gloom. Then I go into the sunlight, and by the time I get to town, I'm sort of in a bit of a mild anger phase. Okay, I'm angry about something. That's what the sun does to me. And then I go in, you know, undercover, and I'd settle down again. So it doesn't have time, because I don't have that much time in the sun. I've reduced it, I'm regulating it to some extent. It'd be better if I didn't spend, you know, better if I could sort of get there in the shade altogether, but that's not always possible. But at least I'm not spending as much time in bright sunlight, so by the time I get into it, I can then get over the hump. Okay, so that's I mean, it used to happen when I was with my family. And this, I'm going to introduce the idea here that I think more people suffer from this than just me. But to give you an idea of, it sort of slowly happens, and because I can't say, oh, it's just my sad, that's what's doing it. I'd go out shopping and I'd come home and I'd be in my room or something, and my wife would come in and I'd be, and she couldn't stand it. I couldn't blame her. I couldn't either. But I'd been doing it all my life. And she assumed that I'd spoken to somebody, or someone said something that upset me, or had some experience or something. What she didn't understand was, no, I'd just been in the sunlight. I'd woken up in light, I went out and had a bit of break, when I was at the shop, and came back, and I just, I was angry when I got home because there was too much light. That's it. It wasn't anything, it happened if I spoke to somebody or not. People didn't upset me that much. It was the sunlight. That's what was doing it. Year in, year out. She couldn't stand it. My kids couldn't stand it either. He's angry again. I wasn't really angry. I was like, it's sun. That was brought on by sun. But that's not the only thing. And Christmas. It's evil. Although I didn't like Christmas, couldn't stand it. And that's, in young family, that's almost a cardinal sin. But it had nothing to do with Christmas. It had to do with sunlight. Think about it, in Australia, December is right in the middle of our sunny season. There's more sunlight here than you can poke a stick at in winter. Come the middle of summer, it's just, whoa, sunlight heaven. And I couldn't stand it. It was awful. And it was depressing. And I couldn't explain it. I got depressed around Christmas. But no, we look at Christmas. Christmas must be doing it. What's wrong with you, Bob, that you don't like Christmas? What is the problem with Christmas? I never had a problem with Christmas. I had a problem with sunlight, but I didn't know that. And nobody was able to tell me that. I asked doctors, why am I feeling down? They had no idea. I spoke to friends. I spoke to a lot of people. No idea at all. So I had no idea. They had no idea. The so-called professionals had no idea. So I'd get to Christmas and, clearly I was a bad person. I even saw a video recently by a woman who was claiming that her ex-boyfriend was a real narcissist because he didn't like Christmas. And in fact, she was going out there and saying, anybody who doesn't like Christmas is a narcissist. So we're getting further and further away from being diagnosed as, having seasonal affective disorder. No, now we're narcissists. Now we're just evil people. And the reason, what was her reasoning? He didn't want anybody else to have a good time, so he had a bad time. He's selfish, narcissistic. That was her reasoning. I couldn't find the ad again to explain. No, I think he might have been suffering from seasonal affective disorder. And it couldn't be any worse than Christmas, because Christmas is supposed to be a happy time. You've got to be happy and gay. Look, it's like a person who's crippled going to a running race. Everybody's saying, you're going to get up and run? I'm in a wheelchair. What's your problem? Get up and run with us. Don't you like us or something? But we know what a wheelchair is. You can see a person in a wheelchair. You wouldn't say it to them, would you? And get up and go for a run. You'd think you'd say that'd be a bit insensitive, wouldn't you? Yet no problem to call a person who is suffering from depression in the middle of, the Christmas season, no problem at all to call them evil. Now, that's the reality of the situation. And how many other people suffer from this, and that has some bearing on their psyche? Look, my eating is just totally self-regulated in a week. Maybe one day I had a bit of extra, I had a couple of bowls extra of noodles, or a bowl extra of noodles. Maybe. But that was about it. Now, what's a person who just can't control their eating? Maybe it's not there. It could be light. They may have too much light, or too little light, or it could be something completely different. But if they spend a lot of time in front of a computer or a TV, it could be, all the flashing light could be just too much for them. I just had a thought, interestingly enough. When televisions first came out, they used to put blue paper over them, blue cellophane paper. And then for some reason they took that away. And it was funny because somebody mentioned recently on my other channel that some doctor had found that blue light affects people in a different way. But yeah, when TV first came out, everybody used to put this, it was transparent, but it was blue. And then that disappeared. It was only there for, the first year or two or something, supposedly to protect you. But then, that was taken away. And clearly it was no good in, for colour. You want to, blue. But that could be the problem. It could be television. The light coming off actual light, and how it's impacting. It could actually be having a significant bearing on the way people eat. It has nothing to do with the content of the television. It's just the mechanical action of, flash, 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 high intensity flash. I don't know. But, it's and we're here being super critical of those that don't fit into some sort of normal pattern. I mean, think. It may be some other reason. In 2050, people might look back at these times and say, well, those people, altogether there. Everybody knows that, light has a big major bearing on your psyche. They're running around saying all sorts of things to them. Look, it wouldn't surprise me. And nobody knows about it. I talked to my chemist about it yesterday. I was talking about, I had someone say it. He had no idea what I was talking about. And I said, look, I explained. He said, well, it's really good that you found out. I said, yeah. And I said, I can't remember the name of the hormone that affects it. He said, when you think about it, come back and tell me. Yeah, it was serotonin. I don't even know whether that's, I'm sort of, nobody knows what's doing it. I got to thinking maybe I produce too much serotonin, too much light. I'm pumping out serotonin all the way. So I went in to talk to the chemist. I said, the name was serotonin, and he seemed a bit unusual. He seemed like, don't know about that. Oh, okay. I said, causing a lot of suicides. Yep, fine. And I walked out and I thought, well, yeah, he sells antidepressants. I guess he's like a drug dealer, isn't he? He doesn't want to know about this sort of stuff because it's a threat to his livelihood. Could be, I don't know. Or he could have been embarrassed that he didn't know, or he might have just thought I was a complete nutter. I don't know. But I know I've felt the best I've felt my entire life. My diet is regulated. I'm drinking maybe 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day, which I think is fine. I think that's sort of, not like I was drinking. I don't have an alcohol, but as I said, I gave up alcohol before this all happened. So that could have a bearing. I'm not discounting that altogether, but I still think it has a lot to do with sunlight. And it has so much to do with sunlight. And just before I go, just remembering the alcohol, it was a week ago. When I was in town, I was wondering whether I should. I was in so much emotional pain. I couldn't stand it. I was really thinking, physically you could feel the pain. It's like a chill that runs through your whole body. I thought, I need a drink. And I hadn't had a drink for a week or 2 at that stage at all. And I weathered the storm. That's when I found out. I realised after that. But that's what was happening. I was using alcohol to, and God knows how many people are using alcohol to relieve the pain caused by sunlight. Either not enough or too much. I mean, it's honestly, I think, if we can spread the word about this, if we can talk to people, if you know people who are eating too much or eating too little, and they're concerned about their situation. I know talking about people and it's with food and diet very difficult. It's a touchy subject, but talking about light is not a touchy subject. It's interesting, it's different, and if they're down, depressed, yes, sunlight could be having an effect on that as well. The only downside to all of this for me is the lizards are starting to move in with me. So I have to be careful, where I'm walking the whole time. And I'm fearful because, if they get too comfortable, those things can chomp through a chicken leg, a bone, just gone. My toe is very similar to a chicken leg, and so I don't really want them eating me. But then I've got 2 or 3 in here now. Yeah, they like it. It's cool. Good digs. Yeah, plenty of bugs to eat. Yeah, nice clean floor. Not like not like outside. They're not outside lizards anymore. They like being indoors. Anyway, it's been good talking to you, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.